Welcome everyone to this webinar, Advisory Network for Small Business. It is my pleasure to again have PIDC host this wonderful opportunity for businesses, for small businesses. As you know, sometimes you don't know, that businesses can be extremely well in the delivery of their products and services. But so often a business owner is left alone and does not have the resources to be able to think outside of their own head and hear advice other than what they hear coming from their own thoughts. And so PIDC has found this program to be extremely valuable to small businesses. And so we have partnered with the Advisory Network of Small Businesses. We want you to pay close attention to the information. This is something that PIDC wholly endorses, that you consider. We think today that you will enjoy the panel of professionals and business owners who have experienced this initiative and can speak to how it has helped their own businesses. And so it is my pleasure to introduce Trace Flaherty, who I've had the good pleasure of working with for several years. Trace is without question one of the top experts in small businesses in our region, if not in our state. She for years was the executive director of the Small Business Development Center at the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. And so when Trace talks about small businesses, you are hearing information from a person who is virtually unmatched in her expertise and her experience. And so I'm going to turn it over now to Trace, who will introduce the panelists for today's event. Trace.
Thank you, Marla. Thank you so much. Thank you for introducing me so kindly. And thank you for being a great partner for the Advisory Network for Small Business. I have wonderful colleagues here on the webinar with me. I'm going to just mention their names now because what we will, and I'll give you a sense of what we're doing. We'll, first of all, we have and I'll ask you just to wave. Well, we have our chair of the Advisory Network for Small Business, Maria Bosaggio. I think you can see her picture. She's going to be speaking to you in a few minutes and describing her own entrepreneurial background and also what we try to do and how we try to do it to make a difference to businesses that are ready to grow in our region. There's also Betsy McClarney, one of our board members, who again, a very accomplished small business owner and entrepreneur who has a fascinating marketing business, which she will also describe to you in a little bit. And she'll talk about from the perspective of someone who's familiar with our advisory teams and how we help you grow, and also someone who's been through it and truly been over a few hurdles in growth. And then a little bit later as well, I'll introduce Kristen Smith of Smith Flooring. You can see her background there. Kristen is someone who is the CEO of a business that has grown, and she'll tell you about it. They are contracting and prime and subcontracting for flooring in the Philadelphia area. She's a multi-million-dollar business, and she has experienced both all of our programs that you're going to hear about here today. She's experienced advisory teams that help you get over any hurdles to growth and really get going. She's been a client of PIDC and has benefited there. And she's also been a participant in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, which is another program that I'll mention to you later because it's often a good feeder and a good thing to do just to prepare to take advantage of an advisory team. So this is our team of experts today and team of experienced entrepreneurs. You're looking at my picture now, and I'm going to, I hope, mostly fade into the background. I'm going to actually, I think what I will do is say, first off, I'd like to ask the participants in our webinar today, and we have 5 people right now. I'd like to ask you to introduce yourselves. So Marla and I are going to do a little dance, which I hope is going to be done successfully. Jan Matthews is the first person in my list. So what I'm going to do is mention your name. I know we don't have your camera on, so that's our limitation of technology. If you can turn it on, great. But Marla's going to make sure that you're able to speak. And the next person I'll ask will be Rob Burns and then Norman Scott. And what I'll do is name someone who will be the next person to be unmuted. We'd ask you to introduce yourself, your business, and what you're looking to learn here today. What brought you here to learn about growing your business? So Jan, could you tell us all about your business and what brings you here?
Hi, I'm Jan Matthews, and I'm the owner of The Artist in the Hat. I'm located in the Maplewood Mall in the Germantown area of Philadelphia. And I opened up in February of this year. And I'm looking to learn more about marketing and how to attract more customers and grow the business.
Great. And did you say artisan hat as in cover my head?
Yes. The art is in the hat.
Excellent. And I'm looking forward to seeing more about your business and trying on some hats.
Yes.
Okay, so Rob will be next and Norman will be after Rob. Rob? Rob, I think you can speak now.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, no, you're unmuted. I can hear you. You're unmuted. We can hear you.
Okay. My name is Rob Burns. I'm a Vice President at Display Design and Sales. We design and manufacture point of purchase displays. We're located up in Northeast Philadelphia. We've been in business for about 40 years, and we're struggling with ways to grow the business, basically. We have a lot of large customers that we do work for, and they're very happy with the work that we do. But we want to grow our sales over the next potentially 5 to 10 years. And we're just not really sure how to do that.
Great. I think, yes, wonderful. So after Norman, maybe Sandra? Norman will be our next person to introduce himself. And yes. Norman, you're still muted. Marla, could you unmute Norman?
I have done that. I've sent him a message to unmute.
Norman, now could you try unmuting yourself? On my screen, at least, it looks as if Norman is muted. Let me try. And it's telling me, Norman, would you please unmute yourself? It's interesting. Oops. Allowed to, whoops.
Teresa, you having an issue? Is anything I can help with?
Maybe we're hoping.
I think one of us should do the controls, because I think that's what's happening. So Norman, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
There you go.
So I'm going to ask everyone else to stop doing the control, and I'll control the muting. All right, I'm not getting a response. from Norman. Let's try someone else.
Okay, so Sandra?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sandy Roberts, and I am CEO of Peric Systems Incorporated. I provide information technology consulting services to both the public and private sectors. I have about 20 years experience as a project manager, and I'm 2 years into starting my own company. I am very interested in finding out how to better establish and grow my business. And I'm certainly looking for any help and support that I can get in terms of, how to make my organizational structure a little stronger. Certainly as a small business, you don't have the bandwidth to have a lot of, employees to come in to kind of help with doing a lot of the administrative aspects of your company, but certainly this is a good opportunity to learn about, how you can help and support your business in other ways. So just looking forward to getting more information about that. And thank you.
Great, thank you. And Krista, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Hi, I'm Krista Utsi-Berkey. I own a company called Play Arts, which is an arts and education organization. We offer childcare, as well as a whole other slew of things. And we did a pretty major post-pandemic pivot and have finally stabilized since then and are kind of bursting at the seams. And so I feel like we have many opportunities. I'm a little unclear about which direction to go. So that's kind of the support that I'm looking for.
Very good. And I think it might be worth trying Norman one more time before we go into the rest of our program. Well, Norman, if you're listening, please feel free to introduce your business in the chat. I'm not quite sure how the technology is supporting us for the moment, but we welcome you.
Oh, he's unmuted now.
Hey, Norman.
Norman?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm Goodfellow Cigars in Philadelphia. We just opened up. We're at 1 Liberty Place. The shop's at 1 Liberty Place between 17th and Market and Chestnut.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I walked by it the other day.
Okay.
Okay, and what brought you here today? What are you hoping to find? Okay.
I moved too quickly and muted him. I thought he was finished. Didn't expect a follow-up question. My error. Norman, can you unmute?
Here you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
What brought you here today?
I'm sorry. Basically, just to scale the business and grow the business. We're pretty much 4 months into the business and wanted some additional information to grow the business.
All good. Thank you. Thank you. And so what we will do is start to tell you about the Advisory Network for Small Business. What you'll find is we are really, for businesses, we take up where many other programs in Philadelphia leave off. So we'll mention later in the talk some of the programs that are great to get you ready for this. So if you're just starting up, this is a program ours is a program you can work towards as you grow and get ready to grow further. The Advisory Network for Small Business is about the only thing in Philadelphia that I've seen and that Marla's seen that picks you up once you get your foothold and you get yourself established. we come in and really help you to just totally scale a business you've well established. So we're probably relevant right now for Rob's business and maybe for Krista's. You may be ready for us now, but the rest of you look forward to thinking about us later, and we can talk also about programs that can be helpful to you. And I'm sure Marla will add right now. So I'm going to share my screen. I believe is a little bit of a challenge. Yes, here we are. There we go. So, hello, we've been partnering with PIDC for several years, and I've partnered with Marla and PIDC in my previous life at Wharton Small Business Development Center for over 25 years. So I am very glad to have this cover slide. This is what we're here to do. We're here to help you learn about how to grow your business once it's established and how an advisory team from ANSB might help you. Okay, here we are, and you can see a picture of mine. Fran McNeil is, and everyone's, whoops, how did that happen? Fran McNeil is the executive director of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. She wasn't able to be here with us today. She was called away recently. But we'll talk about her program because that's one many of you should think about. We'll come back and talk about that later. Our first speaker is going to be Maria Basejo, who's going to address ANSB. After that, we're probably going to have Kristen, who can talk about her experience as an entrepreneur in all these programs. And Betsy, our board member and entrepreneur, will finish us up. And so you know, we're looking to spend about half an hour, 20 minutes on our talking. And then we've allowed quite a bit of time to address whatever questions you might have. And especially a number of you need to probably figure out how you get from where you are now to where we all hope you'll be very soon. We've done our introductions of you guys, and now I'm going to ask Maria to talk about how the advisory, introduce herself and her own business, and talk about how the advisory network for small business can be helpful to you.
Thank you, Tris. So yes, I am an owner of an EOS Worldwide franchise. And as that owner, I work with other entrepreneurs and their leadership teams to help them, first of all, determine what their long-term and their short-term strategies are. And then I meet with them every 90 days to hold them accountable on their quarterly plans that are driving towards them achieving their annual plans. So that's what I am doing. Prior to becoming an EOS implementer, I actually had started my business in 2010, working with small, mid-sized businesses for just general strategic consulting. And prior to that, I was actually in the corporate world. So just a lot of different backgrounds that I have to bring to the business, and also just what I love to be able to bring to what we do in the advisory network for small business. ANSB is a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit organization that really is dedicated on helping entrepreneurs such as yourselves grow their business. We're focused on the greater Philadelphia area. So entrepreneurs in that area, South Jersey, Delaware, Upper Delaware, greater Philadelphia, and so forth. And especially with us partnering with PIDC, focused really on entrepreneurs who are in the city of Philadelphia. And the way that we help you grow your business is that we offer you a volunteer advisory team. And this advisory team may be of all entrepreneurs, business owners, or it may be a combination of entrepreneurs, business owners, and corporate executives. But these individuals have the expertise in various disciplines. They may, I know as I was jotting down what all of you were looking for, we had some of you needing some help in marketing, some in sales, some in operations, just general strategy for growth. but our volunteers have those different areas of expertise. The way that we find these volunteers is that in ANSB, we have a board of directors of 12 individuals. And it's through our network of individuals that we know, respect, and are confident in, have the expertise to be able to share to you as an entrepreneur to help you identify ways to grow your business. If you could go to the next slide, please, Therese. What some of the benefits are that you would gain through one of our advisory teams is that we are really focused on your business. The individuals that we put on your advisory team are dedicated to you for a 1-year period of time. I'll get a little bit more into some of the specifics then, but it helps you get more of a focus on your business because they're going to continue to ask you questions to understand the challenges that you're facing and achieving the goals that you're wanting to realize, and really getting you laser focused on tasks and activities and so forth that will help you accomplish those goals and overcome the challenges. They are a great sounding board for sharing new ideas and new approaches. And I think that Kristen will certainly talk to you about some of those that her advisory team at the time offered her and how that helped her overcome some of the challenges that she was facing that were getting in the way of accomplishing the growth that she wanted to realize. And it also gave her and will give you an opportunity to work on the business. So many times we as owners, CEOs, and so forth of our business are focused on working in the business. We can't seem to get ourselves away to really be above and be working on the business, building that strategic plan, making those strategic decisions because we're so busy putting out fire drills or just working in the business. But your advisory team will give you guidance and advice to help you be able to think about what do I need to do as I'm working on the business, not so much in the business. We'll also be there to help you think about how do you put together a good business plan? How do you build some good processes to support how the business is run and to drive that consistency and scalability? And also, as I mentioned to you, the board had, through our network, identifies the individuals that may serve on your advisory team, but those individuals that will be serving on your advisory team, they also have their own network. So sometimes you may have some challenges that need some assistance that the individuals on your advisory team don't have, or you may want to contract with somebody to do some work for you. They have an extensive network as well, and they can connect you to some individuals to help you move forward in the direction that your business needs to go. On the next slide, we'll talk about just a little bit about what that advisory team looks like. And most of our advisory teams have somewhere between 4 to 5 individuals that serve on it. And each advisory team will have someone who will serve as your mentor. Each advisory team will have someone that will be your financial advisor. I don't mean a wealth management advisor, but just someone to help offer you the guidance on the financials, reading the reports, just thinking about different things that you can do from a financial perspective to move the business forward. But then the other advisors on your team will be based on the challenges that you're facing. So like those of you that mentioned that you need some assistance in sales and marketing, we being the ANSB board of directors, will look for individuals in our network that have that area of expertise and then recommend to you some individuals that we think could bring you that expertise to serve on your advisory team. If you need operations assistance or HR assistance, we're going to reach out to our network and find individuals that have that area of expertise that you need to overcome the challenges that you're facing today. And once we put together individuals that we recommend to serve on your advisory team, we actually let you take a look at those individuals. And whether you interview them one-on-one or whether you just review their bio and give us the okay, you actually have a say on whether or not you believe that the individuals that we've recommended will really give you the kind of background and experience that you're looking for to give you some of the guidance during your 1 year on your advisory team. If someone that we recommended doesn't seem to be a fit for you, just let us know. We'll go out and we'll search for someone else in that discipline and make a new recommendation to you before we finalize that advisory team and get you started on your advisory meetings. So you definitely have input on who serves on your advisory team. And that is so essential because, as I always like to say, you have to be 100% comfortable at sharing the good, bad, and the ugly of what's happening in your business with the individuals on your advisory team. If you don't have that comfort factor, then you're going to hold back on the information you share with them, and they won't be able to be as effective for you as we want them to be. So that's why we want you to have a say in who serves on your advisory team. And again, what you need to understand as well is that your information will be confidential. So what you share with your advisory team stays with your advisory team. How we work with you is covered on the next slide, I believe. And actually, before we get to the different types of meetings, but talking about the confidential information, again, as I emphasized just a moment ago, it's important to share the good, bad, and the ugly, because if we don't get that information, we won't be able to help you fully. Part of that information is to be able to share your financial information. So not only will you share your financial information for your financials for the last few years in your application process, but at every meeting that you have, every in-person meeting that you have with your advisory team, you're going to share your financial reports with them, just so that those experts, if they see something that they want to draw to your attention, we can do that and have a discussion on that to help you make sure that you stay ahead and have some good positive financials. I also talked about the fact that each advisory team will have a mentor. The mentor will work with you to determine the agenda for each meeting, because we know that you have different challenges at different times, and that even though during the interview process, you told us that these are the key areas that you have challenges in, during those 90 days in between the in-person meetings, and also even the 6 weeks between the in-person meetings and the phone calls that I'll share with you in a moment, there are going to be different situations arise in your business that you want to get some guidance on or get some advice on. So that's why the mentor will work with you to determine what the key points are that you want to go have a discussion with your advisory team on in that particular meeting. What we do ask is that you are open to the ideas that the advisory team offers you. If you are just in the advisory meetings, the advisory team meetings, and you listen to what they say, but never act on any of it, you're really not getting the benefit of their expertise. We're not saying that you have to accept every idea that they have, but we just ask you to be open to their ideas and to really giving at least some of them a try and try to work with those and use those to help you improve the growth of your business and the strength of your business. So now on the next slide, Trez, I think we'll talk about just what are the different steps in how you work with an advisory team. So first of all, once we have identified who your advisory team is and you've approved your advisors, you'll have an initial meeting with your mentor. Your mentor is someone that sits on the ANSB board of directors most typically. And that's just an in-person meeting, or it could be a Zoom meeting. That's up to the two of you. It'll just be a short 1-hour meeting, but that's where, again, now you'll be able to share with your mentor where you really want to focus. We've identified that during the application process, but we want you to be able to update the mentor and just even get a little bit deeper in some of those areas that you want to focus on for the year. And just make sure that your mentor is fully aware of what the business challenges are that you want to address during the 1-year time that you have with your advisory team. After that initial meeting with a mentor, you'll have then quarterly meetings with all of your advisors. These quarterly meetings are in person. We prefer in person. They might be Zoom, but we prefer in person, but they're going to be for 2 hours. You and your team will determine when those 2 hours occur and also what day they occur on. So you and the advisory team determine your schedule. We recommend that you set all 4 quarterly meetings in your calendar after the very first one, so that everyone just makes that commitment to that time and sets aside their schedule around that time. All of these, again, as I mentioned already, are with you as the owner, with your mentor, and with everyone else on the advisory team. What we do during these quarterly meetings is, again, as I mentioned before, we're going to take a look at your financials, but we're also going to spend more time on the challenges that you need us to address in that particular meeting. And you can see on this slide that it says an update on homework assignments. What is important to understand is that after every meeting, your advisory team is going to say, all right, between now and our next meeting, this is what we want you to work on. and this is what we want you to report on at the next meeting. So that's what we just refer to as the homework assignments. But that's good because, again, it's making sure that not only are you able to hold your advisory team accountable to giving you support, but the advisory team wants to hold you accountable on making sure that you are acting on some of the recommendations and taking the steps to overcome the challenges and move your business forward. So as you can see, there is a little pre-work before each of your meetings just to make sure that you're ready to update the advisory team on that homework and your progress on it. Now, in between each of the quarterly meetings, we're going to have a mid-quarter check-in. That would just be a phone call or a Zoom call for an hour. And again, you and the mentor will determine what the agenda is, but it typically is making sure that we're making some progress on the homework assignments that came out of the quarterly meeting. And also, if there's any short-term challenge that you want to have a conversation on, certainly have that conversation during that meeting. To the right side of this slide, you can see that we talk about having ad hoc meetings. So in the quarterly meetings and the mid-quarter check-in calls, everyone on your advisory team will be in those meetings with you. But sometimes you may need to really have some extra discussion with one or more of your members of your advisory team just to drill into something that you talked about, either at the quarterly meeting or at the mid-quarter check-in. So you can ask your advisors to have another call or to get together for coffee or lunch just to have that more detailed conversation with them. Your advisors are just what they're called, advisors. They're not going to do the work for you, but they will certainly provide you with some excellent guidance and help you think about how do you want to most effectively get that work done. A little bit about eligibility and so forth on the next slide. The eligibility requirements are that you have to be in business for 3 or more years. So that's where Therese was mentioning that a couple of you likely are ready today, but a few of you still have a little bit of time before you may be eligible for our program. But because of our partnership with PIDC, our partnership with 10KSB, those are some programs that also can offer you some assistance prior to being eligible for the ANSB program. The revenue requirements are, as you can see on this slide, if you're a services-based business, $250,000 in annual revenues. If you are a product-based or manufacturing business, then $400,000 or better in annual revenues. You need to have at least 2 full-time employees, but that's including you. So really just one other employee in addition to yourself. And again, as I mentioned on the previous slide, we want to make sure that you are actually using the advice that you're getting from your advisory team. That's what's going to make it most effective. So that's why we say we want to make sure that you're coachable and that you're growth oriented. But actually, each of you, when you're doing your check-in and we asked you why you were here today, you're all saying part of what you're wanting to do in addition to like marketing or sales is just figure out how do we want to grow that business? How can we grow it more effectively? I also mentioned in the very, very beginning that if you could stay on that slide, please, Therese, that we are a volunteer organization. Because of that, we're able, if everyone could just please be on mute, thank you. We are able to offer our program for a very nominal fee. It's a one-time fee, as you see on this slide, and anywhere as little as $1,200 one-time fee up to $3,000 max one-time fee. And that's based on your annual revenues, as you can see on this slide. Those fees are simply to help us cover our administrative costs. Everyone in ANSB is a volunteer. The board members are volunteering their time. The individuals on your advisory team are volunteering their time. These are all individuals who want to pay it back to our greater Philadelphia area business community. So that's how we're able to keep our fees low. And now on the last slide that I'll talk to is about how do you apply. So if you are interested in ANSB, you can go to our website and there is actually a PDF of the entire application form that you could download, complete, and then submit. Or at the lower part of the slide that you're seeing here, that when you get to the particular application screen on our website, you'll see that there's just a short form that you can fill out online, and then that will notify us that you're interested. And then Therese or someone else from that committee will reach out and give you a call, answer some questions, and then send that PDF form to you. So we also have an ANSB meet and greet with PIDC at the Navy Yard. And Therese, please remind me what that date is.
The 28th of June, and we actually have that on the last slide in the deck.
Okay, great.
Particulars will be there.
Okay, so that's a little bit about ANSB, why we exist, how we can help your business, how we create the advisory teams and your involvement and approval of that, and just the benefits of what you can get out of that. But let me turn it over now to our next speaker.
Okay, and that would be Fran, who is the Executive Director of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program, and also on the ANSB board. She sends you her warmest greetings. She too would love to see you in either of these programs. What I would like to do is to, in her stead, I will talk about her program and her viewpoint of people who are able to complete the advisory network or the advisory team, why it's really helpful. The Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program, you may have heard about. It is a wonderful executive education program. It is free, except that you must dedicate your weekends for 2 to 3 months, as well as a lot of in-between time to take advantage of that program. It helps businesses that are growth-oriented and perhaps don't have a growth plan or are not ready to work with the advisory network. Helps you really figure out how to take help from other people, how to begin to think about how you might grow. So it's a wonderful program. And I will tell you that's even probably a little more advanced than some of you who are here today who have been in business for the last year or less. And we're going to talk for a few minutes. I'll ask Marla later on to talk about the Power Up program, which is a program that can be very helpful for you right now, and which PIDC is also quite involved with. Normally, I would have Fran talk about what she has seen happen to graduates of the 10,000 Small Business Program who have also received advisory teams for a year. And what she will say is 10,000 Small Businesses helps you think about growth and plan for growth, and the advisory network helps you implement it and actually get going, which is usually not a trivial thing by any means. But rather than telling you secondhand stories, what I'm going to introduce you to Kristen Smith, who can tell you firsthand after she explains to you about Smith Flooring and what she and her partners have done. But she can tell you a little bit about what difference 10,000 small businesses might make and what difference an advisory team might make to your growing. Kristen?
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Therese. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kristen Smith, and my company is Smith Flooring, Inc. I'm honored and so grateful today to be invited to sit on this panel. Thanks to Therese and Maria, who I met through another board development program. And as they mentioned, it was very successful for us. And so, and again, thanks to Marla and Jasmine and the team at PIDC for having me. So Smith Flooring, Inc. has been in operation since 2006. So as of yesterday, we just completed our 17th year of operation. And I apologize for my dinging from my computer. But so yesterday we finished we came on our 17th year of operation. And we'll have to say it was due in large part the success of our company with agencies like PIDC and the help of our advisory board and these programs like 10,000 Small Businesses just has helped us grow exponentially over the years. We started out in our basement. My husband and I owned the company, and we started in our basement, and now we are able to say that we have a small groupings of buildings now that we own and operate our business out of. And it just has been at the gratitude of our advisory board, who helped mentor us, who helped us with our processes, and was able to help us strategize and think through our next steps and come up with a strategic plan for success of our company. Could not say enough about the decision to join with our advisory board. Didn't really, I will tell you the truth, we didn't really feel at the beginning that we needed an advisory board, but I will say that it was a tough decision to invest the monies. We didn't think at the time we had the monies to invest in an advisory board, but I will say that it was money well spent. It helped unpack some of the issues, and Maria mentioned that you are pretty much exposing every nook and cranny of your personal and your business life in order for your advisory team to really understand your business, to understand your finances, and to help you move forward with policy direction, with helping us level up with our banking relationships. It was for us the best advisory, our first advisory board was the best thing we could have done, because it helped us tap into the resources and the networks of those folks who sat on the board. And without it, we probably would not have met some of the folks that we did. We are now connected to one of the most prestigious accounting firms in our area, who have helped us level up our financials. And that has been tremendous with for us in developing a banking relationship that helped us get capital. And so, yes, I'm going to say for everyone who's on this webinar, I would strongly suggest that you get involved and get an advisory board as soon as you could.
Right. Can I ask, Kristen, if you could just compare, what was it like being the CEO of Smith Flooring when you came to us? I had the honor of being on your team. And what's Smith Flooring like now? You have buildings. What's the change in the business? It's been a couple years, right?
It's been a couple of years. We've graduated from 10,000 small businesses in 2013, and a few years after that, I was introduced to Therese and Maria about the advisory board. And at first, I will say that I don't think we were ready right out of that program, but the opportunity came at the right time for us. I will say we had a weak financial structure in our company. It was one of the functions that was weak. And so I believe that first day I was late, I was disheveled, I would say I was a hot mess. We were a hot mess, and they really helped us get into shape and helped us get ourselves to the point where we now today are very confident in our financials. We're very confident in the infrastructure of our business, and looking forward to the next 17 years or so for our business. Well, thank you.
Thank you. It is a thrill to see you and see what you've done. Thank you so much for sharing. And folks on the webinar, you'll be able to ask Kristen questions. Our next speaker is another very accomplished entrepreneur who is also on the ANSB board, Betsy McClarney, who's going to tell you about her. I think she has a very interesting business, something I didn't even know existed until I met Betsy, and now I see it everywhere. Betsy?
Thanks, Therese. And Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here today and talk to you a little bit about my business and why I think an advisory board is highly recommended when the time is right, as Kristen said. So thank you very much for listening and participating. We appreciate that. My history is as the CEO of EMC Outdoor. I joined the company in 1998. It is a boutique advertising agency specializing in strategy, planning, and buying of outdoor advertising. Best known formats are billboards, wall murals, posters, also airport advertising, all types of transit advertising, excuse me, whether it's rail or bus or taxi. There's many more medium within our wheelhouse. It's probably easier to think about what we do when I eliminate TV, radio, print, digital, internet, direct mail. Everything else falls into our world. And that includes like gas stations and pharmacy ads, grocery store ads, movies, you know, that's the hyper-local work we do. We also get involved with experiential programs, pop-up, interactions one-to-one with people. They can be on the street, they could be at trade shows, conferences, sales meetings, so on and so forth. So we really run the gamut, and it's been a very fun ride. When I joined my father, who actually started the business in '91. He was looking to exit the business, so I took it over. And initially, with his guidance, things were moving along pretty well. And within about 15 years, I had managed to screw it all up. No, not really. But things kind of got away from me. You know, every owner of a business is strong in a particular area. I can tell you one of my weakest areas is on the financial side. So when I started to finally seek help, I was really looking for a lot of financial guidance. But there were clearly other parts of my business that could use help, whether it was in HR, operations, strategic planning. And I will tell you, I turned to the type of platform that Maria offers to help me manage the company. It's called the Entrepreneurial Operating System. That helped. It also helped to have advisors that dug into my business and gave me advice. And I'll be honest, they really kicked my butt right from the start. And that vulnerability of opening the kimono and letting others who've gone through it before give you their advice, help you to connect to others if they can't be that key resource, was just invaluable to me and really helped me, as Kristen said, take my business to the next level. Help me grow my business, scale my business, get the right people in the right seats, have the right financial benchmarks that I can review consistently, that will shed light on when certain trends in your business is changing. I just can't express how valuable it was to be working with a panel of experts. My panel of experts actually came through other peers, other owners of businesses. That's another way to consider expert advice. But I actually think if I had been aware of ANSB, I probably would have moved towards this type of panel, advisory panel, because they're focused on you and what you need. And they're digging in on your business so that they can give you one-to-one expert advice. And if they don't know the answer, they'll help you find the answer. It's a one-year intensive course, and I really think it will help you to define your future strategy, strategic business strategy. It will help you to implement best practices, whether it's process, sales and marketing, right people in the right seats, so on and so forth. And again, it will help your business reach the next level of where you want to take it. And so I think it's really important that you consider this. It's a relatively small investment, and yet it can have a big impact on your business. Really can help you get clearer on your vision, where you want to take the company, and how best to implement that. So I can't recommend it highly enough. And if any of you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. And we're going to I'm going to stop sharing before we get to the Q&A. And first, I want to ask Marla if she would speak about the programs that really feed into the 10KSB program, especially helpful in the city for startups.
Thank you, Therese. And I am not a representative of those programs. I can just tell you the value that those programs have been to not only PIDC clients, but other business owners who are in need of business education. One of the things that these programs help and focus is that business owners are expert in the delivery of their products and services. So for example, Smith Flooring does a phenomenal job in flooring, in carpentry. So if you want A1 top quality carpentry and flooring, that's the company to go to. We can't help them with that. We can't tell them how to be good flooring, a good flooring company, but what we can do is steer them to initiatives that help with the operational efficiencies of the company. So many companies are expert in the delivery of their goods and services, but they know their company should be larger than it is, and they can't quite figure out what is hindering them. And 99% of the time, it is efficiencies in operations. It is understanding your numbers, how to put together financial statements. It is understanding marketing and sales and the difference between the two. So marketing is in sales. And so how do you understand how to be proficient in each of those? How do you understand how to hire the right talent in your organization? What are the things that you're looking for? When should you fire talent in your organization? Talent that might be hindering the growth of your organization. So those are the kinds of things that these initiatives focus on. So in addition to the Goldman Sachs 10,000 businesses, which really is for more seasoned companies, that means you have experience with success already. You've been able to stabilize a company at a certain revenue level, but you can't break through that ceiling to get to the next level. That's what the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program does. But every company isn't going to be eligible. So for companies that are not yet eligible, we partner with the Community College of Philadelphia in its Power Up Your Business initiative, which is modeled directly after the Goldman Sachs program. So it is almost, we don't call it, it's not a prerequisite, but it's almost like before you jump in the deep end, let's take you in shallow waters and teach you some of the basics. Then once you get that breaststroke and that backhand stabilized, then you can graduate into applying towards the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. In addition to that, we also partner with the Small Business Administration. The Small Business Administration has what it calls the Emerging Leaders Program. It has made some adjustments to that program, and it is now calling it Emerging Leaders Thrive. And Thrive is an acronym. I'm sorry, I don't have the name, the words off the top of my head, but that is another one for companies that are more advanced, have been through a cohort type peer-to-peer learning, but need to hone those skills and need a little more time than is provided with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is a very accelerated program. It's about 13 weeks with the Small Business Administration's Emerging Leaders Program. You have about 6 months. There are also other programs that PIDC recommends. Obviously, ANSB is one of those, but we encourage you to continue coming to these information sessions, and feel free to reach out to us so we can give you more information on these programs. It will be one of the, if not the best investment of time that you can take in growing your business and maturing you and informing you as the business owner.
Thank you, Marla. Thank you. Our next phase is the Q&A generally for all of our participants. But just before we do that, I wonder if we could ask Stephen Blunt to introduce yourself, please. Stephen, we've been hearing from all of our other participants. And today, Stephen, if you would introduce yourself and your business and what you're looking for here today. And Marla is going to ask you to speak, allow you to speak.
Yes. So, Mr. Blunt, if you will unmute your mic, there you are.
Hi, my name is Steve Blunt. I'm the owner of Blunt Art Consulting. We are a one-stop shop design build firm. I'm always looking for opportunities to grow my business and to perfect my profession. So that's why I was so interested in this program. And I like everything that I heard. It fills in the gaps. Every time I come to one of these seminars, fills in the gaps of what I'm missing. So I'm very excited about what is offered here and the avenues that it creates and open up for me to continue to thrive in what I love to do.
Great. So I'm going to suggest we open the floor to questions. Steve, do you have any questions to start us off?
I think the only question that I have is, how do I get started? I didn't really hear, maybe I missed it, but I didn't really hear any details as to how, we move into this next phase or concerning the advisory board.
I wonder, Maria, do you want to answer that question?
Certainly. So, Steve, I would suggest that you go to our website, ANSB.org.
Okay.
And there's some information about us on that website, but there's also a page that has the online application form, which is a very short form that if you fill it out, then that will, your contact information will be sent to us. And that will give us a chance then to reach out to you. Also on that page, though, if you would prefer, we actually have a PDF of the application form itself that you could download, save to your hard drive, complete, and then email to us. So that would be the best way to go about it. And also you can reach out to Therese. Her email is right there as well, just to set up a time to talk to her if you'd rather do that.
Yeah, and when we were talking about this slide, and by the way, PIDC and our friends, Jasmine and Marla, will send you a PDF of this slide deck. Might be that you don't get it till early next week, but they will also have here, here we go. They are inviting you to meet some of our ANSB board members and some PIDC people in person on June 28th from 5:30 to 7 at the Navy Yard. We'll send the details on registration in that follow-up email, but it'll be at the Navy Yard. So there's free parking as well as light refreshments. And I will say, because of COVID, PIDC has strict limits on attendance. So first come, first serve. When you get that email, you should register immediately. Okay. Steve, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I think, do you know how to put up your hands or put the question in the Q&A or the chat? Either way.
Grace, we did have a question in the Q&A asking, where can we find the names of the potential advisors?
If you look, well, many of the advisors, of course, will be members of our board of directors. And so you can, if you go to the ANSB website, you can see the names of people who are on our board. But Maria talked earlier, and I'm going to ask her to remind us what she said, because she gave us a lot of information about where these potential advisors come from and who they might be.
Yes. So certainly someone from the board of directors will be a mentor on each of our panels. So as Trez was saying, oftentimes we are on a panel, but we use our network of individuals that we know and respect and are confident would be able to participate and bring the experience that we want all of our recipients to get from their advisory team. So we don't have a list of all of those individuals because that varies, because as we look for individuals to serve on your advisory team, we are focused on making sure that we're finding individuals that have the discipline and experience that you're needing. In the check-in, some of you mentioned marketing, some mentioned sales, some mentioned operations, or just general growth strategy. So we're always going to our network and finding those individuals. So we just don't have that long list there. But if you go to the meet and greet, although because of the attendance limitation, you may not be able to meet any of the individuals that have served on advisory teams, but we may have some other meet and greets as the attendance limitations expires and we're able to have bigger audience. At those, we'll be able to invite also some of our individuals that have served as advisors on our teams.
I could I just add something? One of the reasons we really put a lot of time into finding a customized advisory team for you is that we're looking for people with some people in that group with experience in your business. So for Kristen's business, she's in contracting. Not everybody was in contracting and construction, but the amazing accountant who happens to be on our board has been the lead construction partner in a big consulting firm for many, many years. And it makes a difference if someone really understands your business. If it's in construction, we've got to find them. If it's in IT consulting, it's another whole group of people. So some knowledge and experience in your business is, we think, essential. And that's one of the reasons we can't give you an exhaustive list.
Right. Another good example of that, Trez, if I might add, some of the prior advisory teams that were put together. One time we had somebody that was in CPG, and we were fortunate that not only did we have a CPG expert, but we were able to find an accountant who had CPG background and somebody in marketing who had CPG background. So sometimes we're only able to find one individual, as we found with Kristen, the CPA, being so involved in construction, but other times we're able to find more that have that industry expertise. And when we're able to do that, we certainly make that effort.
Yeah, and we definitely have a couple of teams that have been in more human services in childcare and education. And again, another whole group.
Perez, maybe part of that question is, what if somebody's a competitor or there's a conflict, right?
Yes. So that's a great question, Betsy. And that comes into the reason that we give the names and bios of every advisor that we are recommending serve on the entrepreneur's advisory team. And we give that entrepreneur the opportunity to say yes or no. And we actually had that situation. One of our current teams, someone that we thought would be an excellent mentor to that individual who would have been, but they were in very similar businesses. And even though the individual we were recommending has the highest integrity and would not have taken any competitive advantage, the entrepreneur just wasn't comfortable. And we respected that. And we said, absolutely, we will not go forward in that direction. We'll find you someone else. So that's one of the very key reasons that we say, here's who we're recommending. Do you agree? And the entrepreneurs have that opportunity to say yes or no.
Absolutely. Krista, do you have any questions? Anything come to mind?
This all sounds really wonderful and just exactly what I'm interested in. I completed the 10 KSB program and I love everything about EOS. So I'm feeling really good about all of the talking points. I guess my only question right now is, and you may have said this when I stepped out, what is once the application goes in, then is the process on kind of a rolling basis, or is there a particular kind of year that you follow?
It's a rolling basis. We just respond immediately.
Okay, thank you.
And you should know that one of the things that has made us very, very pleased is that there's a lot of interest. So it can take we work with you and with our advisory team to get the exact right advisory team. So the earlier you get your application in and we get started, the earlier that you'll be able to start an advisory team. But particularly as we get more interest, it can be a little bit delayed. So if you're hoping to start soon, talk to us soon.
Understood, thank you.
Yeah. And Rob, do you have something that you might want to ask?
Looks like Steve might.
Steve, do you?
No, I don't.
Oh. Okay. I'll come around. We have such a nice small group. We'll give each of you a chance to raise some questions, and then we won't keep you longer than we need to. Rob, do you have anything that's on your mind?
No, nothing yet. Not specifically. We have a lot of general things that I think, if we go ahead and get in there, that an advisor is going to take a look at some things and say, oh, okay, well, this is where you need to go. And that's what we're looking for, because we just don't know what turn to make at this point. That's really, we got a lot going on right now. So we're just not sure how to take it in a straight, not say straight path, but a path that will grow the business.
Right.
We're also in a transition of first generation is coming, is going out, and the second generation sons are moving in. So there's also that on top of trying to grow the business. So
sure. Well, that's part of why we really spend some time working with you to figure out who's on your advisory team and what makes sense for a focus. And so we can work with your advisory team, but also your management team, to figure out when is the right time to put in place an advisory team. And I'll tell you, sometimes we'll say, oh, yes, an advisory team could be great for you, but maybe you want to wait until you move into the new building, whatever it might be. So there's quite a lot of back and forth to make sure we're doing this with you at a time that it works well. I'm just guessing you have quite a management team that would need to be thinking about the situation. And you're welcome to bring them to the meet and greet. I think we'll have a small one if they're able to come. But anyway, quite possible. Talk, Maria.
Chris, Sylvia put in the chat that she can't find the Navy Yard event details on the website. Marla, maybe that's more of a question for you. She was wondering if it's going to be possible to share that by email.
We will share it by email. We just confirmed the details of it on today. So everyone on this call will receive the email. Because we are limited to 15 as we are still working through our COVID protocols. We will limit the invitations to the persons who responded to today's information session. So everyone live on today's session, as well as those who registered but did not attend, will be those who received the invitation, and then your responses will be on a first come, first served basis.
Anything to add, Maria?
No, I do see Sylvia has a follow-up question about
good.
whether it can be the principal to be the coach individual, or should it be the owner themselves? We do typically work with the owner. Yes. If you have anything
Sylvia here, I can't see her here.
She's not on the screen.
She
see. Came later. She was one of the later introductions, Therese.
Oh, okay, Marla, maybe we could, Sylvia, sorry we have overlooked you. It's my limitation on dealing with the technology. Would you like to introduce yourself to the group? And Marla, are you able to?
So Sylvia, unless she can speak now, she did put in the Q&A that she was not able to, or was not in a place where she could talk freely at this moment. So she did put a question in the Q&A.
Oh, great. So we were able to answer that.
Oh, good. She says she's in a quiet room now, but cannot open the mic.
Oh dear. Maybe Marla can help her.
So Sylvia, if you would unmute yourself, we may be able to talk. Sylvia, can you unmute yourself?
She just keeps saying she's in quiet room.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe she's in she's in a quiet room that doesn't allow talking.
Okay.
Sorry. I thought she was in a room that was quiet enough to be able to talk. Okay.
Well, Sylvia, we hope to be meeting you and all of you in person in a place where everyone's welcome and everyone can speak. Sandy, you are the one person who hasn't yet been asked. Do you have any questions at this point or any comments you'd like to make before we finish up?
No, I don't have any specific questions. Just like some of the other folks on the call, I think I'm just trying to figure out, where I am in my journey with my business. And even if I'm ready at this point to ask for something like an advisory board. As I mentioned, I'm like a year and a half, almost 2 years into the business. I'm still trying to grow the business, but maybe the expectations would be that there's a really sort of established business, clientele, et cetera, before having an advisory board would make sense. Or I don't know, or if you guys are to the point where you say, even if you are sort of in the beginning stages of things, that you could still benefit from talking to someone. I'm set up. I don't need anybody to tell me how to, whether I should incorporate or be an LLC or anything like that. So I've done all that. It's just being strategic about my direction within the company and with doing business. So it's really, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Right. So Sandy,
if I could ask Kristen and Betsy, what were some things that happened with the board that you did not expect? I mean, so obviously you were interested in it, which caused you to apply, but what was there inside once you actually got in it? What, if anything, happened that was unexpected, an unexpected benefit?
Yeah, I'll speak to that, because I was, as she was speaking, I was thinking there's so many things that I wish I would have prepped for before we were given our advisory board. We did not, off the top of our heads, know our metrics for the company. We could not speak to, say, all of our specific dates and times around our financials and our financial, I guess our loans. Like, we didn't know specific information that when you sit in front of that board, they're going to be asking you questions. You should know all of your metrics. You should know when your loans expire. You should know who's responsible for renewing, when it renews. Things, those little critical things I wish we would have been prepped for before we had our advisory board.
That's good to know.
Actually, I got to tell you, those were little things that your team, I believe, because I was on your team, helped you to get on top of very quickly. Yep. So when I hear you say that, I think, oh, Kristen, it would have been great if you didn't need an advisory team.
That's right.
But when an advisory team did, and I remember Jim asking those questions.
Oh, yeah.
Of you.
They were tough.
They were tough. He just, and as Betsy said, you know, really holding your feet to the fire on the little details that made it possible for you to prioritize and get going.
Well, and if I could add a little something, again, this is a kudo to you, Kristen. You exemplify the model of coachable and willing to accept input. And that's why one of the reasons I think you were so successful with your team. And we even remarked at how different you were from our first meeting to when you, quote, graduated from our program. It was night and day, but it was because you were open to it and acted on it. And it was hard work, but you did it.
It was. Thank you. Thank you. And Betsy says, when somebody kicks your butt, you kind of sit up and listen. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I personally didn't go through the ANSB advisory group, but it is hard work. I mean, you're in business to be successful. And you're probably listening today because there's just that nagging feeling that there's more you could be doing to help grow and scale your business. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And having a team of experts, questions, you know, your rationale, your plan, and how well your business is being managed. And at any given time, no matter how great anybody feels they're managing their business, there's probably still something to learn, something to improve upon, maybe some perspective that you never considered that could change your world. It's about possibilities, and it's about how driven you are to make your business successful. This is something that you can do, and it's not easy. It's hard work, but if you go through it, you will see an improvement in either the overall business or certain areas of the business that you really turn your attention to with the help of experts who've seen it, done it, advised on it, and want to be your source of strength going forward.
I have a question for you, Kristen. You had a team that worked just the way Maria described it for a year. You had quarterly meetings and management meetings. And I wondered, are you still in touch with any of those people? Did it have a lasting impact on you and the way you do business?
We're still in contact with the accounting firm. And actually we have now built a relationship and now are clients of theirs. And so it took some time for us to get to the level where we could be a client of theirs, to be very honest, because we just were not in that position when we started our advisory board. So you're right, from that first day until now, we are a different company. And to give a little kudos to PIDC. If it were not for PIDC, our company would not have grown the way it has either. So both, you need all types of agencies and associations to make it.
Right.
And mentors in general, I would say.
Yep.
You know, as a business owner, you should be trying to leverage all resources.
Yeah.
Some are not available for whatever reason. It could be financial, it could be based on your size or whatever. but there's so many people out there that are willing to help, whether it's through ANSB, PIDC, 10KSB, even just people you know in your business. Get networked, get connected, ask for help. People will help you. ANSB is here to help for sure.
Absolutely. Well, okay. Marla, would you like to have some closing words? I want to say, talk to us. You don't have to be ready for an advisory board right now. If you'd like to talk to us, just reach out and or come to the meet and greet. And I know Marla feels very much that way, but Marla, let me say thank you. Thank you for being such a wonderful partner for ANSB and really for all the entrepreneurs in Philadelphia. And it's been a privilege for us to be with you today. So let me turn this over to you.
I am just going to put my email address in the chat. If you have not received today's presentation in your email, along with details on the upcoming meet and greet, don't be shy about sending me an email. Okay, and with that, on behalf of PIDC, we would like to thank Maria, Kristen, Betsy, and of course, Therese for today's activity. We are committed to posting these informations once a quarter. It is that important to us. And so the next one will be held in September, I think we were saying today, Therese, and then every quarter after that. So please make sure you're checking the PIDC website for all of our upcoming workshops and webinars. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much. It is 2:22. Have a great afternoon. Remember to mask up outside. We have health advisories with this haze. There are chemical particles in the air from the Canadian wildfires. So we received a health alert from the City of Philadelphia's health department this morning. So be very, very careful when you're outdoors. And stay inside if you can for the next few, just for the next few days. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Thank you. This
Bye.
was great. Thank you very much.